Alrighty, it's January 16th, 2013. It's 7:20 p.m. I've just got home from work a little bit ago. Don't have TV or radio where I work, so wasn't able to keep up on what Obama did in his speech today. I'm just now reading his executive actions list. I'll read them out and tell you what I think of them as I read them. Number one is issue a presidential memorandum to require federal agencies to make relevant data available to federal background check system. I thought that's what they already do with the NICS system. Address unnecessary legal barriers, particularly relating to the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA, that may prevent states from making information available to the background check system. That's new. That's what we're all asking for, is mental health background checks, availability of them. Me, any gun dealer, we're not told why anyone is denied or delayed for any gun purchase. All they do is tell us denied or delayed. If it's denied, we give them a card with their number, case number on it, and they take it from there. They can appeal it. We have nothing to do with that. If they're delayed, we get a date that we can give them the gun on if we haven't heard back from the NICS system before that date. Usually we do, and it's usually a proceed. There was something in their system or something that they had to clear up. Not the person, but the background checks. And that's usually social security numbers or names or birth dates that confuse it. Number three, improve incentives for states to share information with the background check system. There again, I thought they already do that. I mean, the NICS system catches everything that they ask for. Number four, direct the Attorney General to review categories of individuals prohibited from having a gun to make sure dangerous people are not slipping through the cracks. Again, thought they already did that. That was part of the NICS system, and that's why it was put into place. If you're a convicted felon, you can't have a gun. Dishonorable discharge, you can't have a gun. Number five, propose rulemaking to give law enforcement the ability to run a full background check on an individual before returning a seized gun. Some places they do that already, some places they don't. So that's just directing everyone to do it. Number six, publish a letter from ATF to federally licensed gun dealers, that's us, providing guidance on how to run background checks for private sellers. Now this one's new, and this one pertains to private sales. It was rumored that there was going to be an executive action or legislation to make all private sales illegal unless they run through an FFL dealer. And we're going to be getting a letter on how to run those background checks. Not as sales through our system, but just as transfers. Number seven, launch a national safe and responsible gun ownership campaign. Again, stuff that's already been done, mandated, or something else down the line. This is just a continuation of the same thing or something similar. Number eight, review safety standards for gun locks and gun safes. Another item that I think they already do all the time anyway. Number nine, issue presidential memorandum to require federal law enforcement to trace guns recovered in criminal investigations. Again, standard operating procedure, I thought. Number 10, release the Department of Justice report analyzing information on lost and stolen guns and make it widely available to law enforcement. Redundancy, but again, I think that's what they already do. Number 11, nominate an ATF director. They haven't had one. They've had acting directors since 2009. Number 12, provide law enforcement, first responders, and school officials with proper training for active shooter situations. Well, law enforcement, most of them's trained for it over the years, and first responders, hopefully the schools have. But that reads like it's going to be a government program to train. Take advantage of it. Number 13, maximize enforcement efforts to prevent gun violence and prosecute gun crime. That's a duh. I mean, that goes without saying. I don't know if that means that there's going to be federal funds pumping into police departments to maximize those efforts with more police officers and more equipment. 14, issue a presidential memorandum directing the Centers for Disease Control to research the causes and prevention of gun violence. Wide open area there. Can be read many different ways. Like I say, this is my first look at them. I'm just my assumptions, and you know what that means. But looks to me like if you got a gun when you commit a crime, you shoot somebody, at some point in your jail terms, prison terms, or whatever, you're going to be interviewed by psychiatrists and psychologists and ichthyologists and everything else to find out why you like to play with guns. Number 15, direct the Attorney General to issue a report of the availability and the most effective uses of new gun safety technologies and challenge the private sector to develop innovative technologies. Talking about the smart guns. When you buy the gun, you wear a wristband that's got a chip in it that the gun recognizes, and once it gets a certain amount of distance away from that chip, it's unfireable. Developed for police officers, so someone took their gun that couldn't be used against them. Never has been, I don't think, actively used. I know it's probably been tested and everything, and technology works, but that's what we're looking at here, and they're just basically telling the government to issue a report on the availability, and then that telling the private sector to go out and develop it and market it by direct or an executive order or decision. Number 16, clarify that Affordable Care Act does not prohibit doctors asking their patients about guns in their homes. That does nothing to do with background checks, or, well, I guess eventually it would get into the background check system if they open the records to mental health. As far as gun ownership and gun rights and everything, that's neither here nor there. Number 17, release a letter to healthcare providers clarifying that no federal law prohibits them from reporting threats of violence to law enforcement authorities. It means like the caseworkers and people like that, or anyone connected, medical workers, or like if James Holmes is psychiatrist, doctor, when he told him he had fantasies about killing lots of people, you know, she should report that and not keep it doctor-patient confidentiality. That's the way I'm reading these things. Like I said, it's my opinion of them as I read them. Number 18, provide incentives for schools to hire school resources officers. Same thing we've all been saying. 19, develop model emergency response plans for schools, houses of worship, institutions, and higher education. Malls, bowling alleys, grocery stores, the list goes on. Number 20, release a letter of state health officials clarifying the scope of mental health services that Medicaid plans must cover. Nothing to do with nothing to do with guns, as far as I see. 21, finalize regulations clarifying essential health benefits and parity requirements within the Affordable Care Act's exchange. Again, sounds more health care than anything. 22, commit to finalizing mental health parity regulations. If we're meaning for gun background checks, yeah. Number 23, launch a national dialogue led by Secretaries Sebelius and Duncan on mental health. Let's get more in a dialogue. Let's get real with the real issue. But that's my take on the 23 executive decisions, directives, orders. Doesn't change anything for gun control. Not really. I mean, nothing I see. No teeth in it really anywhere. There's really no direct orders. There's requirements. There's assessings, reviews, and stuff like that. So, no teeth in it. Nothing really to worry about. Nothing on now. Doesn't mean that there's 23 more executive directives or direct orders or whatever you want to call them coming out tomorrow or next week. But today, no big deal. Hope it stays that way.